What's up, party people? Welcome back to another video here. So we're gonna be talking about the Resto Druid in 11.0.5 20th anniversary patch coming out tomorrow, and all the changes we got coming in for Resto Druid, because we do have quite a bit. But will they make a difference? We will find out. But I want to get my initial thoughts out here, just because I know I'm going to get a ton of questions on like what talents to pick now, because the builds are definitely going to change, because we have a lot of talents that are coming in and some that are gone, and what's going on. So I'm going to talk about just quickly brief over the new talents that are coming in, and then kind of just ideas of what people probably are going to experiment with in terms of healing, in terms of like just like a shuffle max throughput healing, and then also I'll dabble on my my twos builds. Okay. Because definitely some interesting stuff I want to try out with that. So just to quickly go over the new talents here. So the first new talent here, we have Twin Leaf. So NS has 2 charges. NS got nerfed by 40% going into this patch. So yes, 2 charges is nice, but you are losing 40% value unless you go back and take Nature's Splendor. So if you do want to spend the point on getting Nature's Splendor, you can get an extra 35%, which is kind of offsets that nerf. So you basically just get 2 normal Swiftments. So that's pretty cool. But I'll talk about, because it's gonna might be a little bit tough to reach some of these talents. The next talent here we have is so Tranquil Mind was moved. It was over here. It's moved over here. Omen of Clarity is now baseline. It's not on here anymore. The one that gives you the clear casting procs. So Tranquil Mind is moved over. This will be better than it was previously because of one of the other new talents that's coming in. I'll talk about in a minute. We have Wildwood Roots. This is probably going to be one of the most impactful ones because of Mastery, right? So this is going to allow you to extend or have a shorter cooldown Cenarius ward with a longer duration, which is going to allow you to extend it with Verdant Infusion to have a near 100% uptime. I think in a perfect world, it will be 100% uptime, but you know, obviously PvP, CC happens, so, but very high uptime. It is going to be nerfed coming into this patch as well. So what that means is the healing overall throughput will probably be net around the same, but its contribution to Mastery makes it a net buff, if that makes sense, because the uptime is going to be higher, which contributes to your Mastery, which means you're going to have this up higher, so all of your other heals are going to do more. So this is going to be a very crucial talent to pick up, for sure, hands down. So if you are just if you're only taking the minimum talents in this top area, you're going to see that you actually don't have enough points to take this as well. And it does kind of suck losing Waking Dream. Ysera's Gift has been a very large amount of healing, especially playing Germination with the extra hots. You're able to actually heal a ton with Ysera's Gift. Okay, moving along here. Our next talent here is Renewing Surge. So Renewing Surge sounds so cool, but it's unfortunately nerfed in PvP. So the cooldown of Swiftmend is reduced up to 40% based on the current health of the target. Cooldown is reduced more. So we don't know exactly like the percentages of their health versus the percentages of cooldown reduction. I don't know what this goes down to or anything like that. But it is also, we do have a bunch of nerfs to these new abilities here. So NS is nerfed to 40%, talked about that already. Send Ward is also nerfed, but you get the duration increase. So again, probably like a net. Renewing Surge is 75% effective, so a 25% nerf to it. So that is going to make it so that at a maximum, it's going to reduce the cooldown by 4.5 seconds. I think this is worth trying out. We'll have to kind of further test what's going on, but the biggest trade-off on this is you're probably going to have to lose Wild Synthesis, which is Purge Protection. So I don't know. If this ends up being like not much at all, if like 40% means like they have to be at 5% health, then it's not gonna be worth it. So I don't know. I'll have to keep further testing it, but I'm gonna take it. I'm definitely gonna be experimenting with it to start, especially if you are playing Wild Stalker. It's gonna be a really nice addition because of the symbiotic blooms, and I mean even for Keeper, because you get extra haste every time you Swiftmend. So it's actually really good for both trees. Next new talent is Forest Flow. So Forest Flow is consuming, this is our old tier set that we had in Dragonflight. Consuming clear casting now causes a Rego to also cast nearby target at 60% effectiveness, preferring those with the heal over time effects. This is a nerf version of the tier set. So the tier set was better than this, but this is a nerf version, and then it is further nerfed in PvP by 50%. Really unfortunate. I really don't know if it's going to do anything. My guess is this is going to be absolutely minuscule healing. So in terms of healing throughput builds, you actually may not go this. I'm gonna keep it. I'm definitely gonna try it out, but we'll kind of be able to test it here and there. because all that's going to change is if this ends up sucking, which I think it will, you'll end up probably just going the same route and just taking like this. This is kind of like the cookie cutter healing spec right now on the bottom. So if this sucks, you're probably just gonna go back to playing the same exact thing. With that said, reforestation is nerfed by 25% technically. So instead of every 3 casts equipment, it's gonna be every 4, because this is to compensate for the renewing surge buff or renewing surge talent, which unfortunately is better in PvE. It kind of sucks when they like nerf things because of the PvE strength, but then they also nerfed it in PvP, so it sucks in PvP. Kind of annoying. And it's really interesting because Resto Druid is the lowest performing healer in PvE right now, as well as bottom, not the worst healer, but it's definitely on the bottom end in terms of healers in PvP as well. So I was really surprised for such heavy nerfs, like maybe like 25% nerf on, Forest Flow or something like that, or Renewing Surge. I mean, I guess that's as nerf as you can get. Maybe you shouldn't have nerfed this at all. I don't know. Anyway. Okay, and then the final change here, or actually wait, there's one more talent. Sorry, one more talent. We have Dream of Cenarius. Dream of Cenarius is changed to now that it's active all the time. You don't need to be in Heart of the Wild. It's 50% of the damage you do in Wrath and Shred is converted to healing, and then during Heart of the Wild, it's 200%. This could be really good, depending on the composition and the bracket you're playing. I think in 2s and in 3s, but 3s potentially with Wraths. If you do end up playing with a lot of Wraths, it could actually be really good because you can get a lot of Wraths off. We'll have to see. I'll have to mess around with it a bit more and see how much % I can actually get out of it. Because if you are playing, so like in 3s, I like to play like double caster comps. If you actually play like a shadow play, for example, and you're playing reforestation with tree form, you can actually have a really high uptime of tree form. And you could just spam Wraths on all of your downtime, and then you're having your yeah, so we'll see how that goes. I'll definitely experiment. So actually, you're checking out the stream to see what's going on. And then the final thing we have going on is Reactive Resin. So this is now going to be a baseline ability. There's a lot of unknowns with this because I've heard people say some things. I've tried some things. So the main concern of it, right, is the healing itself is nothing. It's 100k. So if you have, you put on Life Bloom and you get purged, it's 100k hot over 6 seconds, which is absolutely nothing. The thing that comes into play is, does it affect mastery, and is it affected by mastery? To my testing, I didn't see either, but I've been told that other people said that it does contribute to mastery. It's not affected by mastery, but it contributes to mastery, which would make it good. Okay, and if it contributes to mastery, remember this is it's just one stack that overlaps, so you're not getting multiple of these, so it won't endlessly contribute to your mastery. But if it is one stack of mastery, that's good. That's a good change. If it doesn't contribute to mastery and it's just a shitty 100k heal, it sucks, which is unfortunate. But on the bright side, this is passive. We don't have to worry about talenting it, so it is what it is. There's no reason to go super crazy about it. I don't have to theory craft it because you're taking it anyway. You're gonna have it anyway, right? So we'll have to see if it is affected by mastery, because if it is, that will be a nice buff. That'll be the biggest buff out of everything we have here. But on the flip side, this is not going to do much at all versus Evoker. Let me just say that this will be a big for people that are single purging, or like basically everything but Evoker. But if you are getting an Evoker that just mass purges you, if you can't re-hot while this is up, so let's say that they sleepwalk you, then they either tip the scales fire breath, they completely purge you. This becomes useless. It literally did nothing because it's going to, let's say they steal 5 hots because that's what they can do max. It's a 500k heal over 6 seconds. That's nothing. The fire breath did more than 500k healing or damage. So yeah, this would make a big deal for spam purging, but it won't make it'll be basically no change for the Evoker unless you can just immediately re-hot after it, which is usually not the case, but sometimes is. So we'll see. In terms of builds, so let me just quickly touch on that. So that's all the changes we got going on. In terms of the builds, I think we're probably going to end up sticking to the same thing. My gut says this is just absolutely garbage. I think this is going to be really bad, but maybe not. Like I said, if it is good, you're going to have to be kind of in the controversy or the predicament of what do you drop for reforestation, because I think reforestation is probably very good, especially in solo shuffle, and because that proc can really save you, and it's not even just, it's just the being able to cast instantly. But I mean, alternately you get budding leaves, so if you do want to go that, you'll end up having to like drop photosynthesis potentially, which is possible. And I don't know what's going to contribute more. Is the nerf to reforestation make it not worth it anymore? So I think you're probably going to either try out the budding leaves there, or you'll end up playing something like this. dropping photosynthesis. So we'll see what happens here. So we're gonna have to do some further testing on that. And then in terms of and then up top here, like I said, I don't think you're gonna really have the point to take the big NS, but I also think you don't need the NS. I don't know, it's gonna be kind of tough. Renewing Surge, I think, is that it really sucks when they just massively nerf these things in PvP, because I'm like, is it good or is it not good? I don't know. Because the nerfs of it make it kind of like, is it useless? Because you are losing burst protection on Wild Synthesis, which is a big deal. Because if this contributes to your resin, that's going to be a painful change there. So, man, I'm just gonna. I don't want to sit here wasting y'all time. This is what I'm gonna. This is my guess is for like the healing build, because I think this takes priority over the double Swift Mend or the stronger Swift Mend. And yeah. I mean, maybe you don't even need the double Swift Mend and you just take the Splendor. Anyway, all right, whatever. I'm not going to dabble on with it. That was the build I was thinking of there. And then in terms of the twos builds, because I know a lot of you watch me for that, going to be in a lot of predicaments as well with it, what talents to choose. Down here, I would definitely drop Tranquil Mind, because you're not playing Tree Form and you're not going to be getting these Omen of Clarities off. You're not going to be able to regrowth as much as you would like compared to like Tree Form specs. So I think the stronger NS will probably be better in that regard. And then Wildwood Roots over here. And then coming down here, obviously you're gonna stick with the same thing, the Renewing Surge. The problem comes down here, right? So if you want Shapeshift, you need Shapeshift. It's a mandatory if you're playing twos, especially for mana. And then Photosynthesis, you lose Photosynthesis if you want to play Dream of Cenarius. If Dream of Cenarius sucks, I will end up swapping it out. But previously I was just playing this. This is what I was previously playing, so if anything, we go back to playing this. I think Dream of Cenarius will be worthwhile, though. I think based on like how I play, at least, it really just sucks that we have to choose between, taking. You need Germination. You just need it. Yeah, what a shame. This really, I mean, these are nice talents, but it's like, damn, now we lose an important talent. I wish they kind of like, for this being so nerfed, I wish this wasn't at the bottom, because it's gonna suck basically. So yes, that's my thoughts on these talents. Those are the builds I'm gonna work with. In terms of healing, like I said, for shuffle, I would probably stick with that top one, that first one, with the. This is going to be my first one to try out. All right, just a second, get rid of it all. This will probably be my first thing that I want to try out, and then alternatively, if this ends up sucking, go back to Reforestation. So we'll try that stuff out. We'll see how it goes. I'm trying to be optimistic on this, but I think this is going to be a very minor buff. I don't think it's going to change the game. I think we're going to have to wait till the next season to get more mastery for things to change. So that's all for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Follow the stream. Sub to the YouTube channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.